Marcus stood before the mahogany doors of the family estate, the same ones he had walked through for 25 years. But this time, he wasn't a boy with wide eyes and folded hands. He was a man, tired, aware, and filled with a quiet fury that made even the staff hesitate when he passed. Inside the house, a gathering waited. His adoptive parents, Richard and Evelyn, both pristine in posture and pressed clothes, had called this meeting with a simple agenda: Marcus's loyalty. "We're only asking you to think about your future," Richard Preston said, calm but firm. His wife, Eleanor, nodded silently beside him, her hands folded like a porcelain statue. "You're part of this family, but you can't serve two worlds." Marcus's eyes didn't leave the envelope. Inside was a trust fund worth over $7 million, a trust that came with a condition: cut ties with the group of black men and women he had called family long before he learned what blood and belonging really meant. "Your friends," Eleanor added, voice carefully restrained, "don't reflect the life we've given you. They attract attention, the wrong kind. That doesn't help you. Or us." He didn't answer. Instead, his mind raced, chest heaving as he thought about last night. The dinner, the laughter, the joy of being surrounded by people who truly saw him. Not as a symbol, not as a charity project, but as Marcus. Fully, unapologetically black Marcus. He remembered what Donovan had told him just before they parted ways. "Money makes life easier, but love makes it livable. Don't sell your soul, bro. Not for anyone." Richard stood and slowly walked over to Marcus, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Son, you have a future in this family, in this legacy, but every legacy requires sacrifice." And there it was, the word that cut deepest. Marcus stepped back, brushing off the hand with more force than intended. "Sacrifice? You mean abandon the only people who made me feel human? You want me to be silent in rooms where I don't belong and smile through the stairs? You want me to cut off the part of me that reminds you I'm not like you?" Eleanor flinched. "You're not being fair," she said. "We raised you. We gave you everything." "No," he shot back, voice breaking. "You gave me a cage with velvet walls." The air stilled. "I'm not a painting to hang up and show off at donor galas. I'm not your token of progressive parenthood, and I'm not for sale." He tore the envelope in half. The room gasped. Silence again. But now it felt different. A finality hung in it. He turned and walked out. Outside, the air was sharp and cleansing. He got into his car and drove with no destination, just a need to move. His hands gripped the wheel tighter as memories surged, being told his natural hair looked unkempt, being warned not to use slang, the times he was paraded in front of Richard's colleagues with the words, "This is our son. We adopted him when he was 7. That word, always that word, like it needed constant reminding. He pulled over, parked near an old basketball court, and stepped out. Laughter echoed from the far end. Kids were playing. Teenagers bantered. He walked closer. "Yo, Marcus!" one of them called. It was Amari, one of the boys from the youth mentoring program he'd been volunteering with. The same program Richard had called a waste of time. Marcus smiled for the first time in hours. He sat on the bleachers, watching them, feeling grounded. Every laugh, every shout, every imperfect, unpolished moment was home. Later that night, Marcus stood before a modest crowd at the local community center. He hadn't planned to speak, but they needed someone to open the night. The mic felt heavy in his hand, but his voice was steady. "I gave up a lot today," he began, "but what I kept was worth more." They listened. "I was raised to believe that success meant distance. Distance from the past, from struggle, from people who look like me. But I realized something. What they called a step up was actually a step away. From myself." He looked across the room. Some nodded, others teared up. "You don't have to choose between comfort and community. You have to choose what's real, what lasts." The applause was soft at first, then grew. That night, he got home to a small apartment he could barely afford. No fancy couches, no wine cellar, but peace and a voicemail. "Marcus, it's Mom. Eleanor, we were hurt, angry, but maybe we need to talk again. Maybe there's more to learn. Call us if you're ready." He didn't call, not yet. He opened his laptop and typed, "Roots Forward, Empowerment Through Truth," the name of the nonprofit he was starting, funded not by inheritance, but by heart. Marcus smiled. Not every home has a white fence. Not every family shares blood, and not every inheritance is worth accepting. What would you have chosen? Millions in wealth or loyalty to your roots? Let us know in the comments. And if this story moved you, like, share, and subscribe for more true-to-life untold stories. Tamam Ramite.